Hello. I would like to start this series of these videos primarily aimed to help my students in various institutions with academic research and writing skills. So these videos are aimed not so much on a specific course, but rather on the development of general academic and research skills. In this first video, I'm going to talk about the essay writing and the primary tips of how to improve essay writing. So I will start with discussing the structure of the essay, at least the suggested structure that I would advise people to implement in their essays. So when you're writing an essay, for instance, if we talk about something short like 1,500 words essay, the suggestion is make sure that your introduction and conclusion are 10% of the word count. What do I mean by that? So if you write in 1,500 words essay, your introduction should ideally be 150 words. Similarly, the conclusion should be the same length, 150 words. For such short essays, it is also advisable probably to have even some shorter intro and conclusion, around 100 words if you prefer. Of course, if you have specific guidelines in your course, in your department, suggestion that you need to have longer introduction and conclusion, you need to follow those guidelines. However, the rule of a thumb is 150 words for 1,500 words essay, meaning 10% of the word count. Okay, so when you write your introduction, first of all, you need to introduce your topic. Basically suggesting why it is relevant, what you're exploring. Then you need to explain what is your research question or which topic you will be covering, or which problem you will be describing. Then it is a good practice to provide the answer to your research question, meaning that what is your central argument, or as some people know it, what is the red line that will be going through your entire essay. The reason I'm suggesting it's better to put it at the end of the introduction is because anyone who's going to be reading your work will know what to look for, what your main thesis is, and will be able to see how you're basically proving it in the main body of your essay. In the main body of your essay, which should be the primary analysis, it is a good idea to divide it into kind of a few points, a few either evidence that will be proving your main statement, or if you're applying theories, some kind of principles of the theory that would be helping you as the main means, as tools for your analysis to prove your primary statement. In terms of conclusion, it is a good idea not to include any kind of new information in the conclusion. Again, I would suggest following whatever the guidelines you would have at your specific course and in your department. However, the classical suggestion is make sure that you do not introduce something completely new, because ideally you should have introduced that in the main body, and in conclusion, you pretty much just provide the summary of what was previously said. Also, it is a good practice to add a bit of reinstatement of what you have previously said in the introduction, what your central argument was. So in the summary or in the conclusion, you pretty much say what you proved and pretty much summarize how you managed to do that. Another thing to consider is if you're using direct quotes in your essay, make sure they do not exceed 10% of the word count. Or ideally, it is advised to have more of paraphrasing rather than rather than just providing direct quotes. However, if you need to prove something using direct quotes, it's a good practice not to have them more than 10%. So if you write in 1,500 words essay, it is a good idea to have not more than 150 words of direct quotes. Also, make sure you're referencing them correctly, and make sure that these references correspond to a specific page number if you're using direct quote, and if you have just paraphrasing, just a year and just a author and year. In some cases, of course, it depends on the formatting style. Sometimes you always have to provide page number, which is, again, make sure you're following proper referencing for your essays. And yes. Also, make sure that you always include the bibliography at the end of your essay. Yes. Another common question with the essay writing is how many pieces of literature you should be using in your essay writing. The suggestion is, if you write in some like a small piece of work, some small essay like 1,500 words, I mean, probably between, I don't know, 8 and 15 would be a good idea. It would be good advice to have this number of literature. However, it also depends how much of academic literature you're using, or how much of internet sources, like, I don't know, newspaper articles or reports, I mean, primary, secondary sources you're using. So it is a good practice to make sure that you're balancing the academic literature with some other sources, basically. So again, it's pretty much depends which sources you're using and how you're using them as well. But if you ask for a number of sources for 1,500 words, say I would go with, I don't know, between 7 and 15. Yeah, that would be my advice. That's basically in a nutshell about the structure of the essay, and some basic tips on how to structure your essay writing process. Thank you. See you in the next video.